This is TotalWarhead, and in this video, I want to showcase the Legion of Chaos faction, how to play it, how the mechanics work, what are some of the bugs that are currently found in the campaign, and the sense of direction that you should be trying to aim for as you're moving from the early to mid game in one of the hardest campaigns the game has. It indicates that it is a recommended first campaign. I would not suggest this at all. Now, all of these tips that I'm gonna talk to you about can work up to the hardest difficulties, as I have been playing only on these difficulties in the game, and therefore whatever I have experienced, you should be able to at least match in your own experience or see it actually be easier for you when you're playing at either campaign or battle difficulties that are lower than legendary and very hard. Now, something I want to get off the bat, something right away that I want to talk about is a complaint that I've been seeing across different people is sometimes people look at some of the streamers, the content creators, and they see that the weapon strength of the Demon Prince is higher than what they expect. So if we go here to the Demon Prince campaign and we start the campaign, I'm on ultra unit scale size. Now what happens is that the game scales the weapon strength of lords, probably heroes, probably units as well. I am not certain to the extent that it expands, but at the very least for the Demon Prince, depending on the unit scale size that you are playing, you will see that the weapon strength of a unit will either be lesser or greater than what you are seeing in your own game. The Demon Prince has a resource called Glory. Now, Glory is divided into 5 subcategories, 4 of them being for the respective Chaos Gods, and 1 of them being Undivided. The way you gain Glory is 6 parameters that can increase it for each of the Chaos Gods based Glory, and then for Undivided Glory it is 3 parameters. The 3 parameters found in Undivided, captives, passive gain, and settlements captured, are 3 of the 6 in the other glories. The other ones that are found in the other 4 Chaos God based glories are buildings, commandments, and events. So those are ways that you can gain glory for these gods. So the one that is for events is that sometimes randomly you will get plus 60 glory for our god. It just happens out of nowhere and you just get it. Another one is a dilemma. A dilemma is when you get a pop-up at the beginning of a turn that presents you with options for you to click. Now, the dilemma that occurs that gives you a lot of glory, and the other one that I've seen that gives glory per se, is one that gives you 250 for each of the Chaos Gods. Or there's another option, you can select an item instead of getting the glory for the gods. So it's a really good early game option to go for the one that increases glory across each of the 4 gods to boost up the resource for them, and then towards the late game when you fill the respective bars with glory for these gods, then you go for the item. So what is glory good for? What do you want it? So glory fills up these bars from left to right in the campaign. As you go from left to right, the Undivided based glory basically is for your said god. It's just only for him, not necessarily any additional faction wide effects from going Undivided until you dedicate yourself to Undivided. Once you get to 3080 glory points for each of the glory or the demonic glories, you get a option to level up to the next level to dedicate yourself to another god. So what happens here is that if I get to 3080 for Undivided, then I can select this option. I won't be able to proceed to dedicate myself to any of the other 4 Chaos Gods, and then I can gain with these icons that appear here: Undivided 1, Undivided 2, Undivided 3, battle ability to summon Furies, more diplomatic relations with the basically chaos based factions, and then if we proceed to Undivided 2, Lord Recruit rank, Hero Recruit rank +2, Chaos Undivided Corruption adjacent provinces +3. Now I want you to know here, what Chaos Undivided Corruption does in the campaign is it boosts control. Once you get Chaos Undivided really high, you can get up to +10 control in your provinces. And finally, Undivided 3, which is when you get to the max cap of glory points that you can get on these sliders, which is 5,610, you can reduce upkeep faction wide and recruitment costs by 10%, increase your recruit rank of units by +1, and get global recruitment duration reduced by -2. You can further reduce it in other ways in the campaign to get elite units in 3 turns or maybe 2. I'm not certain what the lowest value is that you can get. Additionally, you can recruit units. You can see there's like 4 little groupings of different units at each of these little sets here. So what happens is that each of these are elite units for each of the respective chaos gods, and all the way to getting the Lord of Change, the Keeper of Secrets, the Great Unclean One, and the Bloodthirster. Each of the elite single entity units, along with the Soul Grinders, right, that you can get for each of the chaos gods. Now this enables the recruitment of these units. To recruit them, you gotta get a settlement building that unlocks the recruitment in a province to level 5, or just basically to whatever building you need to that unlocks the recruitment in a province for said unit. Now, the items that you get in the campaign actually can be put together to form a set. A set, once you put on certain gifts, is what you call these items. Certain gifts, once you put them on your character, you can get effects, as you see here. The Armored Prince of Chaos, which in my opinion is one of the best sets you can wear in the game, gives you plus 15% physical resistance for Lord's Army. Not exactly true, we'll get back to that in a bit. Plus 20 armor for Lord's Army. Leadership aura size plus 25%, which is good, that's underrated. And then, because it actually gives you a leadership boost for your units in a leader's aura. And that can, in extent, help your units last longer in combat if they start having leadership penalties, thanks to that leadership aura boost, that leadership you get from lords. And then Chaos Undivided Corruption in local province, which is not necessarily great, but it at least will help you get to higher control bonuses in a region. Now when you go Undivided, or when you go to dedication of any of the other chaos gods, you actually get a huge diplomatic relation boost with factions of the god you dedicate yourself to. So for example, for Scarbrand, with Scarbrand, you will get plus 100 diplomatic relations. But look at this, there's a huge penalty here. If you dedicate yourself to any of these chaos gods, look at that negative that appears between the 2 greens. All other glory gain will be halted. So what I suggest you do, if you want to dedicate yourself with a respective god, is get to whatever level you want to on the other bars before dedicating yourself fully to a respective god. Some of these bars have great faction-wide bonuses. If you go all the way here to level 4 here, this column, it can give you, for example, plus 5% replenishment if you get to level 4 of glory, 1430 Norgo glory. You know, 5% casualty replenishment is great. Casualties captured post-battle plus 15%. This can help you get your units back to more HP after battle, and also help you get more glory from casualties captured. And plus 1 control faction wide cannot be understated. So just take into account that as you proceed to dedicate yourself to a respective god. Now, once you dedicate yourself, you also get statistical bonuses based on these icons that appear here for units of the god that you've dedicated yourself to. And then you can also get additional bonuses, basically like more lord recruit rank for like Khorne based lords, and more hero recruit rank for like the Blood Reaper, for example. And then even more bonuses for these units, and you can get a summon for units of the respective chaos gods. Similar how you can summon a Fury with Undivided 1, you can summon the Bloodletters, Plague Bearers, Daemonettes, and Pink Horrors. That is a phenomenal summon to have. Note that it's only 2 summons that you get for these units. For the Furies, it's 10, although I would say that after using it many times, a 90-second cooldown is a really long time for 10 uses. I would say like it's kind of redundant to have so many uses for an ability of a summon with the cooldown of 10 seconds. I would say either reduce the amount of uses, so it's not like a maybe 10. It's just you're not gonna get a battle that is 900 seconds unless you're really pushing, you know, like summoning all these units over and over and over again in those 900 seconds. So going back to the lower levels here, sets can also be found for the other chaos gods, and you can see some of the bonuses you get if you wear items for these respective sets. Now, note that the sets that appear all the way over here, it says like Armored Prince of Chaos. It seems that there's a visual bug here in that they put an icon for an item that unlocks, that is part of a set on the top right here of some of these gifts. But if you look at this one that is part of a set, you actually, they don't actually show an icon here. So I would call it like a visual bug, given that they should actually showcase this at this point. Now coming back here, while you level up the glory for the respective gods, you get those bonuses that I mentioned, faction wide, or kind of like conditional, like against only certain factions. So for example, the level 1 of glory that you see here for each of the respective gods that appear can give you more corruption for a said god, you can get more leadership against kind of like the rival chaos god of the faction you've reached to that point. So for Khorne, you can get +6 leadership against Slaaneshi factions. So if you want to, in the campaign, migrate to the north or basically invade Slaanesh, it would be good to get this bonus that appears here, along with another bonus that appears at level 2 that gives you +8% weapon strength. Now at level 2, you unlock the recruitment for units in your campaign. Note though that these 3 that appear here are at 550 glory to get to this second level of bonuses. The Nurgle's gifts though is not 550, it's only 440. So you can get really early on a plague ridden character if you manage this correctly. Now for you to unlock recruitment for these heroes, you must build a building. Let me actually get a settlement so you can actually see here what I'm talking about. Let's do this. And before I continue actually explaining about the buildings and starting to talk about it, you notice here that I auto-resolved and I got glory for any of these gods and for Undivided. You select here which of these glories you want. The way you increase this magnitude is by getting more casualties in battle, eliminating more unit models. Note though that if you actually get a ton of casualties, there is a max cap of glory that you can get after a battle. It is 250. That amount though can be further increased from the skills of the Demon Prince. So I don't think I can actually get to the level I want to at this location. Let me see. Okay, here we go. That's what I wanted. So I wanted to level up to showcase this. So the max cap you can get without any bonuses from skills or from gift set items that I've talked about so far is 250. But you can get 15% more with this column of nodes that appears here for each of these respective glory points. And then I think there might be another one that might give more points. Let me see if I find... Actually, no, there isn't. So that will be it there. Now, when we're talking about the unlocking of the heroes, right, which was the next thing I wanted to mention, unlocking the recruitment of the heroes is based upon this parameter here. I kind of was like, oh yeah, it's from a building. No, that's not correct. When you get to a level 2 for a hero, you actually unlock the recruitment for the hero. Note that when you're playing the Demon Prince, you already start at level 1 for each of the 4 heroes that appear here. So the moment that you get to the respective glory of 550 for all of the Chaos Gods except Nurgle, and then you get to Nurgle at 440, you can actually recruit those heroes in the province you're standing in. Note that throughout the campaign, you're gonna notice that you're gonna potentially get free heroes from pop-ups every so often in the campaign. So you're gonna be playing and maybe at turn 22, boom, you're gonna get a plague-ridden hero for free, so you don't have to recruit them. In my opinion is, you don't necessarily have to recruit the heroes. That shouldn't be what you should be aiming for. If you get the heroes, you want to put them either for taking out other heroes because there is a massive agent spam in this game at the moment, or you put them in an army to level them up pretty fast and give more like bonuses for the army per se from ancillaries that you get. Now, some bonuses or great things that you can experience as you're playing the Demon Prince campaign in terms of the buildings is the resource buildings from the respective locations. Like the Doomkeep has a marble building. This one is for Tzeentch. Basically, it gives you bonuses for Tzeentch based glory, corruption, and lowering recruitment costs of Tzeentch units in this location. Note that there's a iron based resource in the Forbidden Citadel that actually has a unique resource building for Khorne. There's a salt mine in the northwest that is also for Khorne. So it's not like each of the resources are exclusive for respective gods, because there's more resources in the game than 4 chaos gods. So some of the resources that you get actually share the same effect for the respective bonuses for the chaos gods in glory, corruption, and recruitment costs. Now, in terms of the buildings, the basic military has one that increases the hero capacity of the hero for whatever god you dedicated your building to, your settlement to, and you unlock recruitment of plague bearers and exalted plague bearers. Note that it mentions how much glory you need to actually enable the recruitment. Now, the advanced military gives more Khorne glory, or Nurgle glory, my bad, passively, and this is the same for the other chaos gods. And this is how you can get a soul grinder, you can get pox riders, Forsaken of Nurgle, Spawn of Nurgle, Beast of Nurgle, and Plague Toad. This is from the Obelisk of Nurgle advanced military. And then the Great Unclean one along with the Plague Drones, Exalted Plague Bearers, Death's Heads Plague Drones, and then the Rough Flies are all from this building chain. Note that you get more glory from the second column building that appears here, 8, instead of 7, that is what you get on the first column building that appears here. And there's some military buildings. You can improve the power of your towers, which are already a massive powerful thing that the game has at the moment, to get greater raw energy. You can lower attrition when under siege, which is a great thing to have, and improve leadership, which can help with auto resolve and last longer in combat. Now you can use the Warpstone Locust to further increase Chaos Undivided corruption, reduce the chance of a plague spreading from somebody who wants to give you a plague, but really importantly, you can get a chance of removing a trait gain from visiting the Chaos Realms plus 50%. If you build this on a major settlement and you combine this with the 50% that appears here from the main building, you can get a 100% chance of removing the negative trait that causes -10 leadership. And I think there's another effect, -10 leadership to the character, no, -10 public order, and the leadership penalty might be like -16, some magnitude. But anyways, that's how you basically can get a trait from visiting the Chaos Realms removed really fast. And then from this building here, there's a hidden thing about this game that it doesn't tell you about the Demon Prince campaign that is not mentioned anywhere. So this growth building for the other Chaos Gods, it gives plus 10 growth. For Nurgle, this gives plus 20. The game doesn't tell you this, and then you're like, dude, come on, man, I wanted to know that. So anyways, that's how you actually find out, just by playing and finding out after the fact. Note that this building also reduces recruitment costs for units. So if you think about combining recruitment cost reductions in the campaign, minus 20% from this building, minus 15% from the resource, that's already minus 35%. And then you can get minus 15% from a Demon Prince skill and from a blue skill from respective lords of the respective Chaos Gods. So you can get all the way down to minus 30, 35, 50% recruitment cost reduction at a location. Ways that you can further reduce recruitment costs is via the commandment of, I believe, Khorne. It reduces recruitment costs by 5% further, so total already is minus 55%. And then the last 3 buildings that I didn't touch upon, the second column here of the infrastructure can give you more money, up to 400 here. And then if you go for this third column, this one is unique in a way. So this one can actually increase the hero capacity of a hero, just like this building can, the Nurgling Shrine here of the basic military. So you can get plus 3 hero capacity in a single region. And if you look here, in fact, if you build both of these buildings at every single region that you have, you can potentially get very high hero capacities for your heroes in your faction. If you look here, there's like a conditional bonus. So all of these factions, or every single one of these dedications that you can do for the Chaos Gods in a region, can give you up to 300 extra income generated in a location if a condition is met. So we'll go on, we'll talk about those in a bit further. Now, if you look at the 4th building, you actually gain more control with this building, and you can get a garrison of extra units into your faction. Some of these are good for auto resolve, like the Spawn of Nurgle. So you can get extra units with both the garrison building first column that appears here and the Daemonic Cavalcade building here that also gives you control. Now remember, when control goes high, you can further reduce recruitment costs to get an even further reduction to how much it costs to recruit units. You can also improve growth, but you're gonna have -8 control in the location that you're in. You can improve your campaign line of sight as well with it being high. Note that when your public order is low, you're actually dropping in growth, which is really bad, and recruiting units in a location becomes even more expensive, which you do not want to manage. Now, I already talked about Chaos Undivided Corruption giving more control. So Khorne Corruption, when you get it high, actually gives you more control, and Nurgle, Slaanesh, and Tzeentch also give more control when you have it high for the respective gods. But for Khorne, you actually gain more charge bonus and melee attack for local armies. For Nurgle, you get more growth. For Slaanesh, you get more income from buildings. And then from Tzeentch, you can improve the chance of Winds of Magic getting better in a location, so, or getting stronger in a location. So that is it here in terms of the overall buildings. The level 3 offering of these columns can give you the bloodletting feature, which increases growth for all provinces, reduces upkeep, gives more casualty replenishment, great bonuses for your armies. The negative of this feature is that if you play passively, it's gonna go down. It's like you're playing Khorne, so you have to be constantly doing battles to keep the bloodletting high and get those faction-wide nasty bonuses. The best thing about it is that the bloodletting can give you that massive growth, which is what you really need to level up or get the growth to get the population surplus to build up your settlements as fast as possible. The switchable plagues is extremely powerful feature that can give you bonuses based on whichever plague you want for your army, and if you give a plague to an enemy, you can cause 1 of 4 really negative effects to the enemy army, and one of them actually gives +1 Nurgle corruption in a region. The seduce units is the feature of Slaanesh, so you can seduce units to your side, and then you can use the teleport stance to move your armies from location to location. Note that using teleport requires you to use Winds of Magic, so you have to be careful that you don't pop it and lose a bunch of Winds of Magic without you noticing that you did. And then the level 4 offering, the rest of these up here are basically bonuses for units of the respective Chaos God, except this one here that actually gives a melee defense bonus for Nurgle units, which I found kind of weird. Oh, actually, the Furies actually get bonuses across each of these levels, so you want to get to this level, so all Furies in your campaign, especially this actually combines well with the summons of Undivided to get them even stronger in the campaign. And then coming back, so Khorne's offering level 4 can give you +1 control with every concurrent war with neighboring factions. So if any faction that you're at war with shares an adjacent province with you, boom, you're gonna get +1 control. Income from raiding 20%, income from raising settlements from Nurgle's Gifts 4 20%, casualty replenishment rate 5%, casualties captured post battle 15% for Slaanesh, +1 control faction wide, and then Zinj boons level 4, income from sacking settlements 20%, ambush defense chance 25%. Now, what about the items? What are the items good for each of the gods? So if you want to cause massive decay, massive like AoE Mortis engine kind of effects to the enemy, you can go for Nurgle to get basically a lot of like these passive slime trail like effects and pestilent decay effect to really cause penalties to the enemy in an area of effect. You can also get spells with each of these chaos gods that appears here to get you to really good ways to get glory points in battle. We're gonna touch on how to generate glory points really fast in battles, so you can know how to really utilize that mechanic as much as possible. So I think that's it here. There's nothing else I really want to touch upon in terms of all of this. You can look at the respective sets yourself, so you can really understand how to really cause massive boost to your own units, how to really apply Nurgle based bonuses with the sets that you go for, like for Nurgle, for Khorne and the other gods, and dedicate yourself to a respective god if you want to, or go Undivided to become really strong. All right, in this campaign it is turn 64 and I actually dedicated myself fully to go Undivided here, and then by going Undivided I've been able to increase amount of what do you call it, by going for the Armored Prince set, I've been able to increase the amount of glory that I've gained by 10%, and the other glories have been moving along just greatly. Now, I want to touch upon a couple of things here in terms of bugs that I've noticed and things that I've seen. So, this is the Demon Prince, right, with the Armored Prince set. Now, the Armored Prince set says that it gives you plus 15% physical resistance for Lord's army. Now, that is not necessarily the case. Let me take this. Wait, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me go to the right arm and take this off so we don't have the set being applied anymore. There. Okay. So if we go to this Exalted Demonette, it has 10% physical resistance. This Chaos Warriors of Khorne have no physical resistance. If I go here and I give this unit, let me see, where is it? The Armored Prince set, right? And we look at the Exalted Demonettes, they are getting the 15% physical resistance being applied. But then if I look at the Chaos Warriors of Khorne, they're not getting 15%, they're only getting 5%. The same thing with the Chaos Warriors of Khorne and the Marauders of Slaanesh. It appears that demon-based units are getting 15% extra physical resistance, while the others are getting the human form based units are getting 5%. I'm not sure if that's a conditional thing or why the hell that's happening. Then if I go back and I can just showcase that these units had 25%, they have 20 or 10% now. So yeah, demon units are getting the 15% physical resistance, while non-demon units are getting 5% only. So this right now, this bug, what it pushes you to do is actually build an army of demonettes, which can get what do you call it, even more the extra armor like these chaos warriors can. But these units inflict a lot of damage on the enemy, bypass physical resistance, and have great amount of AP. So anyways, just note that the units that are demon are actually getting more sturdy than the human ones from the Armored Prince set. A little bit of a bug that I've experienced. Another thing to note, right, is the switchable plagues, right? These are the things that they give. +6 leadership, all army, vanguard deployment, attribute, causes terror for all units in army. Now, note that the plague effects on non-Nurgle armies, all of them, if they give a plague, will cause attrition to the enemy. Well, actually, it's the Bowel Streep and the Red Egg, the ones that cause attrition. These ones cause minus 100% charge bonus and +1 Nurgle corruption in local province. Now, if you apply to the enemy the Grey Fever or the Ochre Pox, you actually lower their casualty replenishment greatly, and this one's phenomenal, especially if you're using magic and you know, and then hitting the enemy after you pop them with magic. You lower their speed by 10% and then lower their melee defense, their probability of not getting hit, by 6. So just note that 2 of them, I just found this out, 2 of them cause the enemy to suffer attrition and 2 of them do not, but you actually gain other effects in the campaign based upon the plagues that you wear. Now, something I wanted to showcase is another bug that I found. So these units right now with, for example, the Red Egg that causes all units to cause terror, they cost 280, 360, and 300 to recruit. If I put plague effects of Nurgle's armies, right, and then I go back and try to recruit the units, they still cost the same. It appears that this minus 5% recruitment cost is actually not being applied at the moment in the campaign. A very important thing for you to note. Something else that you want to note when you're playing the Demon Prince campaign is that some regions that are in the Norskin Waste are majors, what I would call them, regions that can get up to 8 settlements built. Now, some of them, let me see if I can showcase here, like the Greyling Moot is only 6. And then there's other ones like the Dwarven one all the way up here, the Kraka Drak, that is also 8, but the climate is unsuitable, which you do not want to push for. Now, there's also the case where you grab major regions that only have 4 freaking buildings instead of more than that, which is very detrimental. So note that some locations like Greyling Moot have 6, Doomkeep has 8. I believe this one up here only has 6 as well, Troll Forge. And then there's another one here that is 6, the Forbidden Citadel. And then finally, the Castle Alexandronov, like of the Constantine, which is like your major enemy that you're going to be facing in the campaign, only has 4 regions here as well. Okay, so I started a battle like on a settlement right now. And what I want to showcase here is I attack with a Bloodthirster. When you attack with the Demon Prince, the Bloodthirster as well, you're going to notice that the Reign of Chaos mechanic, which is based on glory points, as this goes up, right, you're going to have a 25% chance of getting any of these 4 abilities that appear here. There's better ones that appear at tier 2 and super awesome ones that appear all the way at tier 3. Now, as you look here, I keep increasing the amount of points that I'm getting, right, glory points, when my own lord is inflicting damage. If you inflict a lot of damage on elite units, the more points you're gonna get. So important thing to note about this is you want to give your Demon Prince Lord a magic ability or have a magic based Lord, because it is the easiest way to gain glory points in battle. You see we've gotten 102 already, and then I have a dice roll that gives me a respective ability. Now there is a way to influence the percentiles of the ability that you actually get to utilize in battles, and there's also a way to lock or make sure that you only get abilities of a respective god in battle, which in turn showcases that this Demon Prince that I'm attacking with is actually bugged at the moment. But we'll get to that in a bit. I want to showcase if I utilize the Tzeentch's Firestorm, just how much damage I'm gonna get from using this ability on, for example, this unit right over here. So watch the points go up. This is what you want to do. Lock a unit in place, specifically a very elite one. Make a big pile of units. Oh wait, this actually didn't pop. Okay. It'll pop right here on this unit. And there we go. Watch the points just keep going up. Imagine like 5 units in a bundle right there. 5 elite units just right there standing around. You can get this super high up with the Demon Prince, for example, to get like really high glory points over time and unlock them pretty fast. So we got another one for Nurgle, and then we get the tier 3 one in just a bit. So what happens here is you get chosen at random the ability that you're gonna get. It's not like they're all gonna be Nurgle. Sometimes you can get Slaanesh, and then the third one can be for another hero. There's like these dice rolls that occur when you use this. So there we go. We got to tier 3, and then now we have one for Tzeentch, for example. If you see here, these abilities have cooldown. This is 120, this is 90, and this one is 60. So the fastest time that you have to actually utilize these abilities is based upon a timing system: 60, 90, 120. Now if I shoot, for example, let's see what unit I want to shoot now. Maybe I'll shoot this one right here. There we go. And then what I want to do is gain more points as fast as I can. Both of my lords are in combat, inflicting a lot of damage on the enemy. My glory points keep going up, which is exactly what I want. This unit also is giving me points, and then I don't have enough Winds of Magic to pop another one of these, but you get the point. You want to have your lords in combat, inflicting a lot of damage on elite units, or utilize a lot of magic to inflict a lot of pain. Now, I want to showcase the way that you can make sure 100% that the ability that you're going to get from glory points is for a respective god, because the strongest one that you can get in this game with the Demon Prince is the Blade of Khorne. And you can make sure that you always get the Blade of Khorne in battles that you're going to do, and aka only have Khorne abilities. Now, I attacked with the Exalted Bloodthirster. The Bloodthirster still had a 25% chance distributed across 4 abilities, right, to 100% total, to cause you to have an ability of a respective god, but he is bugged at the moment. If you actually attack with a Blood Reaper, you're only gonna have Khorne abilities filling up this bar. If you attack with a Pink Horror Lord, you're only gonna get Tzeentch abilities to pop up. Same thing with Slaanesh and with Nurgle. So right now, when I upgraded to the Exalted Bloodthirster, he's actually working like the Demon Prince, where he can utilize abilities of any of the 4 gods, but the Blood Reaper does not. He only can utilize the abilities of Khorne. So you can actually cause yourself to be in a situation where you can make sure 100% of the time you're getting the Blood Reaper abilities in your campaigns. All right, so I want to touch upon a couple of things right now that I want to showcase the Blood Reaper and how you can manipulate what glory point abilities you get in battle. And we can actually describe how the glory point system works. So, number 1, going back to glory, some lords in the campaign, like the Herald of Khorne, like this Blood Reaper here, and then I think that's what it's called. Oh no, Herald of Khorne, my bad. And then the Herald of Slaanesh. Both of those can get either Murderer and I think Enslaved is the one for Herald of Slaanesh. These traits can give you more casualties captured post-battle, which in turn can help you gain more glory from battles. That combines really well with the extra 15% that we get from Slaanesh here. So all really good to actually aim to get. Now coming back here, what we want to do is proceed to attack with the Herald of Khorne here, because I want to showcase how you can make sure 100% that the ability that you have that you can use in the battle from the glory points is only the ones from Khorne. You can do the same for Nurgle, for Tzeentch, and for Slaanesh. What you need to do is attack with a lord of the respective gods. Note that there is something that I consider a bug at the moment, which is that when you upgrade this Herald of Khorne to an Exalted Bloodthirster, I think is the name, the guy with the wings, you actually don't get this locked to the respective god, or you know, that the hero belongs to. So for example, right here you can see that this is 100% Horn of Khorne AoE melee buff, only the one for Khorne at the moment being applied there. So anyways, let's begin here. This army has only 50 power reserves, which is not good. So we want to I want to showcase here. This is a Skaven major settlement. So what I want to showcase here is I'm going to wait for our main army to come in, and then I'm going to get these glory points up and showcase to you that the very best ability that you can use from the Demon Prince glory point system is, in my opinion, the Blade of Khorne, because that's what you get at tier 3 here. So let's grab everybody. I took some damage from attrition. I just want to showcase this here in this campaign.
Behold my divinity.
Here we go. Look at all those glory points. Look at those glory points. Get up, get up. Yeah, we didn't get it fully up. Okay, come on. Just go in there and attack him for a second, because I just want to showcase the Blade of Khorne here. Do some damage. There you go. Just wait. You want to just pop one magic ability, right? Like right there. Okay, I popped the ones already, right? And then what I want to do here is, I got the Blade of Khorne. This is the most elite one, I would say, right? We're still in the POW here. We're taking a lot of damage. One more unit is coming towards me, though. That's what I want. Either not. Okay, so you get the Blade of Khorne, and then these are some elite units here. Watch. Boom, melted. Oh yeah, important disclaimer. Your heroes, they do not generate glory points in battle. They don't generate glory points. Just remember that. Oh yeah, so there's a skill that actually manipulates only for your army that the actual chance of Khorne rewards happening in the battle are for Khorne, but this only applies to the Demon Prince army. It's not like it actually applies to all of them. So instead of having 25% chance for Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, and Slaanesh, you would actually get 30% for Nurgle, which is great if you want to try to get the Blade of Khorne, but how you really assure that you always get the Blade of Khorne is by attacking with a Herald of Khorne in battles. Now, let me see if there's anything else that I want to touch upon in terms of everything that I've talked about, because this is an extensive guide to the Demon Prince here. So yeah, the first column here, just so you know, right, I think I've kind of touched upon it. So faction-wide effects are up here in the first row that appears here. Note that you can get up to 15% reduction from these 3 nodes combined, right, in total, for respective chaos gods, Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, and Slaanesh. And then there's a singular point, I believe it's this one here of this column, that gives you 15% upkeep reduction. So you can get minus 30% upkeep reduction for units of a respective chaos god by getting both of these nodes in a total of 4 points unlocked. And then some other great skills that I would suggest trying to aim for is you're gonna be facing a lot of agent spam in the campaign. Getting Grace and Guile is great, so your own heroes have a higher chance of succeeding. You also want to get 6% casualty replenishment, a phenomenal one to go for. You want to make sure that you can get into an abusive scenario in this game where you can move your reinforcements behind the enemy. And sometimes that can cause you to spawn in 5 minutes instead of 1 minute and 50 seconds, where you can reduce that net difference, that's like 3 minutes or so, by 75%. So you don't have to wait that long to actually come into the battle. And then you can also increase the reinforcement time prediction accuracy for the enemy. I think this causes them to come in a little bit later. I'm not exactly sure about that one. Now, the Great Sorcerer can help you try to get better winds of magic at a location. This mixes very well if you have a Tzeentch, a unique building, the one that goes to level 4 of the blue ones. So you can potentially get to tempestuous magic at a location to get 300 or more income. So, but this is local province, so you kind of have to stand around. It's kind of a thing that kind of slows down your progress if you try to really maximize it as much as you can. Now, when you get to this column here, these nodes for the respective chaos gods, they actually provide further bonuses that can be considered like Lord's Army or faction wide. You can get known diplomat plus 15 diplomatic relations with this one. You can get on this one over here, that's on another column, plus 30 diplomatic relations with chaos kind of base factions. That's plus 45. And then if you went undivided, right, you don't get the penalties with any of the other 4 chaos gods, and then you get plus 20 here. for those chaos kind of friendly factions. So in total, you can get plus 65 diplomatic relations with all these factions, so you're not in trouble with them at all. Now, in terms of the early game, what I suggest you do, right? The game tells you, this shit pisses me off. The game tells you to go to the Bay of Blades. My suggestion, don't do that. When you get any of the ports that appear around here, any of these 4 ports, you get diplomatic visibility with all of the factions over here, meaning they bring you into war with them. What you want to do is avoid anybody attacking you from this side, because you can only afford 1 army for a long duration of time, and try to get the entirety of this commandery up here in the north, these 3. And also, after you do this, kind of defend, rotate back to the Doomkeep to defend it from the army of Constantine and from Norland, because by the time you finish grabbing all 3 of these regions, you're gonna be fending him off. Additionally, when you declare war against the Norscan faction that holds these 2 regions in that I'm hovering over, you can do a joint war against with the scaling faction that appears here, and that can potentially net you a peace deal with the scaling, so you don't have to fend them off that much. The last initial faction that you're at war with that can potentially become a bit of an issue is there's this like Norscan faction that holds 2 territories around here, these 2 that you start out at war against. What I suggest you do here is fend off or destroy one of his armies that will try to attack this northern settlement up here, or this Doomkeep. Destroy that army, and then he will potentially be weak enough to want peace. You don't necessarily want to be going on a roundabout chasing his ass. Now, once you do all of this, you're gonna have before you do any of this, I suggest that the first hero that you recruit on turn 1 is a Blood Reaper, so you can always get the Blade of Khorne in battles, because that will just melt everything you're gonna be facing if you create a huge blob across any of these areas. And then you want to rush, in terms of the glories, you want to rush Bloodletting and Switchable Plagues. These 2 are must-haves in the campaign, because these 2 will assure you get the most bonuses faction-wide and for your armies that you can get from these mechanics that are here. After you do that, you want to make sure you can recruit some Pink Horrors, some Elite Chaos Warrior units, and then some flanking units like Fleshhounds of Khorne. And then from there, you can create a very strong army like this one that I have here to delete the enemy as they try to get close to you. And then once they engage you, you can just melt them really badly over time. Now, the first building, the Doomkeep that you get, I suggest you just dedicate to Tzeentch, because it's very easy to destroy these factions that are up here with a lot of blue horrors, because that hybrid unit, those precursor missiles that they have are extremely strong, and they can melt everything around you. And after they've melted a lot of their HP, they can just eat up the enemy, even on very hard battle difficulty. As you start progressing through all of this, you're gonna get enough Daemonic Glory to start getting some great spells. And what I suggest you try to do with your Tzeentch Lord is try to get the Purple Sun of Zerus here from Nurgle, or you try to get the Firestorm of Tzeentch. These 2 spells are surefire ways to get a lot of damage on the enemy, and if you do that damage, you're gonna build up glory points as fast as possible and then pop that Blade of Khorne really fast. So yeah, grab these 4 regions, get peace with the scaling, get peace with this Norska faction over here, and then what I suggest you try to do is grab these 3 regions of this faction over here of Jorling, and then from there you're gonna have 3, 6, 7 total settlements that are safe from the enemy, just as long as the Wood Elves don't grab any of these ports here. If you were to grab them, right, you don't want any visibility to do with them. And from there you can just grab these 3 ports up here, ignore all 4 of these, and from there have an economic base and really friendly with the rest of the Chaos factions up here to push on a straight line to destroy Constantine and the rest of Kislev. Important for you to note though, something crucial is, don't grab this port building here when you try to destroy Constantine. It's only 4 buildings and it's gonna open diplomacy with the southwest of the map. Just get these 3 over here, or get the major settlement, and or just sack and raise all of this and just push out. You have a very good economic base up here. You can build up a really strong singular army and a secondary army full of chaos like furies. to really destroy anything the enemy will throw at you for a very long duration of the campaign. Now, because you want to go undivided in terms of the dedication, because it gives you the best bonuses that you can get, what I suggest you do to get each of these 4 elite units for each of the gods is dedicate 4 major built settlements to each of the 4 chaos gods. So I would say dedicate Doomkeep to Tzeentch. You can dedicate the Grayling Moot to any of the other chaos gods. The Forbidden Citadel or the Troll Forge should be dedicated to Khorne because of the unique resource building. And then finally, the other one of the 2 should be dedicated to Slaanesh. And there you have the 4 major regions that you need to build them to tier 5 and get the unique units of any of the chaos gods. And what you want to do for recruitment is, as you keep expanding outwards throughout Kislev, you utilize global recruitment to recruit units from these areas. And to defend them, the easiest thing you want to do is make sure you get a high level magic hero with another lord with them. A Blood Reaper or a Herald of Khorne is good enough, so you make sure you have the Blade of Khorne. And if anything attacks you, with built up elite garrisons, because you want to build the control building, the garrison building, and your main building to at least tier 3 on all of them, you can get really good garrisons, basically complete armies. And then with the magic of a hero and then the lord, you can potentially get the Blade of Khorne really fast in battles, blob up the enemy, and take out anything that tries to attack your 2 major buildings that are gonna potentially be attacked by the enemy. Everything else, I don't worry about that the enemy is going to attack, but you can potentially build up the Monolith of Catan here with a garrison, so you can actually have something to defend it if anybody flanks you. So I believe that is everything that I want to touch upon in terms of this guide. I don't think there's anything else here that I should focus on. I really want to thank y'all for watching, and I really hope to see you on the next one. Bye bye.